not know that there's a deeper meaning of aloha. I came here and I thought all it meant was hello, and this church and the island taught me the true spirit of it. And somebody who has that spirit of aloha, of kindness, compassion, affection, is Richard. I have known Richard for many years now. We're a part of the sub-region of the southeast region called UMAS, and we have a retreat every year in Hendersonville, North Carolina, called the Canoga Retreat, which actually in that part of Native American means gathering as well, like Oahu means gathering. And so Richard, in my 11 years of being a minister, a unity minister, I have never heard a better workshop than the one he put on at his Canoga workshop. Was it a year ago or 2 years ago? It was awesome. Not only is Richard funny, we all know that, and kinesthetic, but he is deep, and he is wise, and he is very powerful. His words have lightened my way, have given me tools to help me feel good about myself and enlightened my spiritual journey. So, Richard, we love you. And if you would, please join me in welcoming Richard Levy.
For one moment, piggyback on how amazing this staff is. I called Margie at 7 o'clock in the morning because Siri's not working to get me from where I need to go to pick up Ed. So I end up, I love when he touches me like this in the morning. I've been apart from my wife for 7 weeks, and I just love any touching I can get. And I'm talking to her on the phone saying, I'm not going in the right direction, I'm lost. She's probably brushing her teeth, taking care of her hair, getting rid of a million details, and she gives me accurate directions on how to get from where I was to pick up Ed. You have a million series at this church. They're all serious people who are giving you what you need when you need it. They're on board 100% with being of service to the one who followed the one. You are a blessed ministry. This is an amazing church. I've never really quite experienced a staff and a consciousness like this, so they deserve all of your love and all of your appreciation. So we've been on a journey. We started off with slow niacin. A little bit of these teachings can go a very, very long way. We talked about mistaken identity and allowing ourselves to take a little bit of truth and move ourselves in a new direction. That was the first Sunday. The second Sunday, we talked about moving from expectation to acceptance. And we said, until you can accept where you are, you can't accept who you are. And we said it's okay to bite your fingernails. I met somebody at the Costco the other day who said, I've been biting my nails like crazy. And I remember the talk, it's okay to bite my fingernails. It's also okay not to. And then we move into the story of pie, the third Sunday, using the stick of mindfulness not to beat others up or ourselves, but just to blow the whistle on ourselves when our ego gets out of control. Blow the whistle with me. We're blowing the whistle on that part so we can lift up the eye of the tiger to the illumination of our awakening. And today we're going to end our time together with snorkel and mask, lessons from going deep into the well of our own being. And actually the idea for this comes out of a daily word that I read, just about 3 weeks ago, and I want to just read it to you. It's called New Adventure. It says, "This is the first day of my new adventure." First-time snorkelers might initially struggle to keep their snorkel above the waves. How many have ever experienced that the first time you went snorkeling? And we all had a first-time experience. But as we do what? As we turn our faces towards the ocean bottom, we become awestruck by a vastly different perspective. A whole new world of colorful fish and fishes open up beneath us. We begin to experience existence, consciousness, and bliss of something much deeper than what appears at the surface level. If your life has become more of a struggle than an exciting adventure, and for me, this has been an interesting mix of things. It's been being in Hawaii has been heavenly, and being in the pain of my hip and my knee from my first talk has been kind of a difficulty for me. But with these teachings, I've allowed myself to embrace the new perspective, making a decision, it says, to change that perception. I break away from limiting conditions and affirm a whole new way of life. Can you say that with me? I break away from limiting conditions and affirm a whole new way of life. When I do, an unexplored world opens up to me. I begin to see the joyful adventure that has been waiting for me all along. From Scripture, we read Isaiah 48:6. You have heard, now see all this, and you will not declare it? Of course you will. From this time forward, I make you hear new things, hidden things that you have not yet known. So we are practicing these teachings with our tools and techniques, the face mask, to see things clearly that we haven't seen. We're practicing looking deep within the well of our own being. We're practicing meditation techniques from the wonderful Ed teaching us about vipassana and shamatha and mindfulness of breath, and allowing ourselves to go deep into the well of our own being to see sometimes what we haven't seen before. I got this great gift about 13, 14 years ago of introducing my niece Sarah to snorkeling for the first time at Hanauma Bay. And she's legally blind. She doesn't see anything except for one eye. 4 inches away, the right eye, she can see just a little bit. And I'm holding her hand, getting ready to go into Hanauma Bay. And I say to her, Sarah, do you trust me? And she says without a shadow of a doubt, I absolutely trust you 100%. Do you feel that? 100%. Because she's had the trust in unseen forces her whole life. She's had to trust that when she goes to the bus stop, she'll be taken care of. That when she's at the airport, someone will help her. That her dog, her seeing eye dog, will help her get across the street. She's in touch with unseen forces and energies that you and I have to practice to be in touch with, because we have all of our senses. But she has more sense than any of us do, because she's lost one and gained 3 or 4 others, yes? So we walk into the water together, and we go into that place of looking deeply into the well, the ocean of our own being. And what do you see when you turn the mask downward? What do you notice? You notice a whole bunch of fish floating around, all kinds of fishies. Yeah, some of them are big fish. Some of them are filled with teeth. Some of them got a stinger and might sting you. Some move like a slow turtle. Your big, big fish things, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotional habits are like those fish that swim in the sea of your unconsciousness. When you do this deeper work, it doesn't mean everything's going to be wonderful and blissful and great all the time. It means when you do the deeper work, you're not afraid to look at what's going on inside of your own mind field, your own patterns of thought, word, deeds that you have, that you've collected in your unconsciousness. But you also notice when you do the deeper work how deep the well of being goes, how vast and huge is the ocean that you exist in, how great is the unconditional love that you come from. And when you're aware of that, it can begin to help you float in the awareness of who you truly are. And you begin to trust in it more and more and more. You reach out your hands and say, I need help. And my friends, the help will be there. Your helpers are everywhere. They're all around you. I was reading this article about this jellyfish. Let me go ahead and give it a little click here. And you've probably swam by this jellyfish, but never know that you had, particularly if you snorkel. It's kind of an interesting jellyfish. It's got a very long, proper name, and I will not crucify it by trying to repeat it. Its nickname is the immortal jellyfish. Why is it the immortal jellyfish, Richard? Why is it the immortal jellyfish, Richard? Because it does something very interesting when it's faced with trauma or a difficult or a hard situation, or just gets old in its life cycle. It begins in the face of that trauma to pull its tentacles inside. Yeah. And it slowly begins to sink to the bottom of the ocean as it pulls its tentacles inside. As you stop reacting and contracting with what's going on outside of you and pull your energy inside. Peace, be still, and know that I am God. When that energy is drawn inside of you, you begin to do inner work, transformational work. And what happens to this immortal jellyfish is that as it looks like it's dead to the world, as it's practicing pure waiting and being very present, a miracle of transformation is going on inside. It's regenerating its own cells and atoms of its own being. It's actually having a new lifetime while in the same body. And what happens is that after it's totally withdrawn its energy and lifted the energy up, which we've called the mana, the prana, the ki, the Holy Spirit is in itself, it begins to grow new tentacles. Did you hear what I just said? it begins to grow new tentacles, and it becomes a whole new creature in Christ. It's what Jesus did in the crucifixion, the resurrection, and the transfiguration. And you and I are being called upon to practice the same thing as well. When you want to reach out and get caught up and all hooked in experiences, rather than do it the way you usually do, you withdraw your energy and allow the energy to be lifted up in you. There's a man named Shin Kobodo who's devoted his life to these incredibly beautiful, gentle creatures. He has a laboratory in Kyoto, Japan. And because of his compassion and his love and his kindness and his willingness to pay attention to these creatures in captivity, they're revealing their secrets to him. Whenever you are kind and compassionate and loving to other people, to other situations, to him and especially to her, when you're able to be that way, that thing that you are fighting to make happen automatically reveals its secrets to you. And the secret that he's finding is that this creature literally knows how to regenerate itself. It goes from, being a chicken, going back into the egg and becoming a chick again, or it's like a butterfly that goes back into the cocoon and then becomes a caterpillar. It knows how to regenerate itself. Isn't that exciting? And we do it every single day. We're doing it all the time. You're not the same person you were 7 years ago. Your whole body has regenerated a whole bunch of new cells. And so the scientific community is really excited about the possibility of squeezing all the juice they can out of experimenting with the immortal jellyfish so they can get it into nice little pill form. So you and I can take the immortal jellyfish, put it in, and all the vitamins say, all of them are labeled with regenerate cells, will take you from your old place to your new place. Everybody here takes those pills, and I take every one of them all the time. I have been for 45 years. I'm talking about me. What is that urge? The urge is that we know we're immortal beings. We know that we are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe, governed by spiritual law. We know we're immortal. And so we're looking for some way to capture and get in touch with our own immortality and make it the reality of the life we're living now. It's a spiritual urge to merge with who we are, to know who we are, that we're greater than just the appearances, and that your body will literally move through you and grow new tentacles, a new adventure, as we said in our daily word. Every day is a new adventure. Every day is a baby brand new day where you get to begin again. And again, the practices that we get here remind us how to do that, how to be aware, how to wake up. Because we're here for illumination and liberation. Yeah? Isn't that what you're here for? Don't you keep repeating the same old stinky fish behavior patterns over and over and over again? Makes God want to throw up. Yeah? Oh, there he goes again, all stuck in that old same stuff again. Oh, there it is again. No, this is about lifting up the energy, finally seeing it, seeing there's energy around it. Oh, look, there's the fish of comparison.
Oh, this ministry is so much better than my ministry. I wish we had the video stuff going here. Like, oh, the music is much better. He's a much better speaker. And then, that whole comparison thing. There's that one again. The little tang of fear, the big, huge red fish of anger. All those things are common to all of us here. You're not going to get rid of that by being spiritual. Oh, good luck. What you're going to do is just be aware that it's only a small part of what you are. I have a friend who free dives. He's been doing free diving for 40 years. And I was with him at Kalakakua Bay. And it's awesome to watch him because what he's done through his practice makes perfect. What is done with ease is first practice with great diligence. He's practiced for 40 years. And he takes these deep, huge gulps of air into his body. He slows his heart rate down to 40 beats per minute. And then he goes down, 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 way further down. And you kind of sit there going, hey, I wonder if he's going to be okay. And then he gets to the bottom and he looks up and he waves at you. And then he slowly comes up, back to the surface again. Through his practice, he's able to do that, to literally transform himself from a being who couldn't do that before but can now because he's done the work and put the practice in to do it. And one time he gave me this analogy of an immortal awakening he had while he was at the bottom. And I'm adding my own story to this as well, too. He gave me permission to. He got all the way down to the bottom, and he's laying there, and he's just realizing as he looks at all of this ocean around him that the ocean is God. This is God. This is love
without conditions. This is the vast sea of consciousness that every one of us in this room comes from. And he notices while he's down at the bottom, a lot of rockfish. These are your issues and your tissues, a lot of which was handed to you when you were very young, and you've got to deal with those too. They don't go away. They're the more difficult items to bring awareness to because you got to go real deep to get to it. But when you do, hello, you realize beneath that is the super conscious mind of the Christ consciousness, the mind that was in Christ Jesus. And then all these things begin to float up in you, and they don't cause you any more fear or harm anymore. They become just things you become aware of. And he began to float up and noticed all the different kinds of fish. He floated around them. And then when he got even further up to the top, he noticed people, human beings, snorkeling and splashing about in about 6 inches of water, which is where most people live their whole life. Splashing around, trashing around. Oh, I'm a victim and it's never going to work out. Get out of my way and I can't breathe. I'm breathing, I'm choking. That's where most people live their life at the surface level. That's not bad. I spend a lot of time there. Splashing and trashing around, right? And thrashing around. But when you have practices, you can go, well, here I am doing that again. I'm going to now take a moment to breathe, to focus and to look down and see what exists right beneath the surface of what I'm being trapped in right now. And when you do, that energy comes to support you and help you in awakening in incredible new ways. But you don't just stay there. After you come back up on the surface again, you then have to do what? You got to get back up on land. You got to bring what you've gotten from your practice into your everyday life because you're here to be a manifester. It doesn't matter if you'll manifest, it's what you want to choose to manifest. You will manifest something. So I'm standing with my beloved Sarah, and we got our mask on, and we've had our initial lessons, and she's ready. And together we go into the ocean, and I tell her I'll squeeze her hand 3 times when I see something, so she can see it. So we get in the water, and we're not going more than about maybe 10 yards, and all of a sudden there's the sea turtle. You know the sea turtle. Those of you who see them often, you don't remember how excited you were when you saw one for the first time. Don't lose that sense of excitement. And she doesn't see it yet, but I squeeze her hand. 1, 2, 3. And all of a sudden, this sea turtle, which I've seen them come towards me before, this sea turtle did something I've never, ever, ever seen a sea turtle do. It comes right to Sarah and goes right in front of her one good eye, 4 inches away. I'm not kidding. And stays there for 1 minute and 30 seconds. And she's screaming, and I'm screaming, and the turtle ain't moving. It just stays right there. It knows it's found someone who sees with a deeper sense of vision, someone who's present for the gift of what's being presented in that moment. And then it swims around us for about at least another 12 minutes and then leaves. You see, your life is like that. Your life wants to join you. It wants to be with you. It wants to show you how great and amazing you are. It wants you to stop grabbing onto everything with your tentacles, grabbing forward, reaching forward, and instead become present. And it will be attracted to you. When A Course in Miracles says, I need do nothing, it doesn't mean you don't do anything. It means you take your energy and focus it on the present moment over and over and over again, and then things are attracted to you. They come to you without you having to try to make it happen. You get the phone call like I did 5 months ago. You want to come to Hawaii and be the guest speaker for July? Absolutely, sign me up. I don't care if my board says yes or no. I'm going, right? It comes to you without you efforting it to make it happen. It shows up in your life. So this wonderful practice that we've been given doesn't mean we still don't get caught up in appearances. So I've had the appearance of my hip and my knee, and it's there. It's just painful, and it's a lot of less sleep than I would like to get, but I've been dealing with it as someone relating to it rather than living from it. You understand that? It's very different. There are moments when I've whined at this poor woman about my pain, but most of the time I'm not relating from it, I'm relating to it. And I went to a chiropractic appointment my second week on the Big Island, and the chiropractor, he got me on a thing, and he popped me, and he just did that thing, and my hip is back in place. You know how you feel? And I said to him, hey, so when can I go running again? I run 6 to 8 miles every other day. He goes, oh, probably in 4 days. I went, yeah. And then I went running 4 days later and no, should not have done that. So I go back just last week, 4 days ago, same chiropractor, you know how life is, and he's there with me. He's doing the same work on me he did before. But now he's got, as life does, the fish hook out, the things that can hook you. We've all got our little fish that swim in our unconsciousness that hook us, right? And what hooks me ain't what hooks you, right? And what gets me ain't what gets you. We all share in our own little fishies that we get hooked on. So I'm lying there, and he's doing me again, and he's got my hip up, and he says to me, oh, brother, that is one old, tired, worn-out hip. One tired, worn-out hip. One tired, worn-out hip. What happened to me going running in 4 days? Now I'm an old, tired, worn-out hippie, you know? And when I left this office, I'm like, oh, worries me. Me and Yoda, I guess I better get early Social Security because I guess I'm finished. It's over. I swallowed it, hook, line, and sinker. And who has not done that before? So what do you do in those moments? It's not that you're not going to do that. You will. You'll keep getting caught and hooked on things. But you have practices. Jesus said, I will make you fishers of men and women. So when that happens to you, don't pull on I got caught a fish. Blah! You know, oh, I'm hooked on that one again. You gently take your rod and your reel, which shall comforteth you, and you gently bring it in. Ooh, reel it in. What's it for you? What are you caught on this week, this month, this year? You know what, you got it. You got your own little name on it. Your own little fishy. You know, it's swimming in the sea of your unconsciousness. It's coming to become conscious in your life. And you bring it in, and a good fisherman can be so gentle that they can take the hook out of the mouth without causing any harm to the fish. And what you do next is very powerful. You then take that energy that you could be trapped in, that you might want to kill and cut its head off, and you release it into the sea of existence, consciousness, and bliss. Then the energy's free for you to use, for your own illumination, awakening, and for the benefit of other people who will try to hook you. I have not been with my wife for 7 weeks. She can hook me with one sideways glance. I haven't had anyone doing that to me, but I get on the phone with her and she says one thing, because we know each other really well. That's the benefit of our practice, to reel it in, to get unhooked, and to allow that energy to be released. So I had a wonderful time with you, and we've got all the tools we need now to awaken to who we are. We've got our little capsules. We've got the identity of who we truly are, identifying with that, moving energy in a new direction. We've talked about accepting where we are. We've talked about using the stick of mindfulness to stay awake. And now it's time to take the snorkel and mask and put it on. You've been given everything that you need. You haven't said anything you haven't heard before. And now it's time for you to go to the airport on Monday, as I will at 8:45, and take everything I've learned here in the sea of existence, consciousness, and bliss, and bring it to the mainland. To my home in Wilmington, North Carolina. So when you practice, my friends, you do this not just for yourself. And when you get these tools and then you abuse these tools, as I have done dozens of times in the last 4 weeks with you, be gentle with yourself. I want to leave you with one parting thought. And the Buddha taught this. He said, it doesn't matter how often you forget, only how soon you remember again and again and again and again. It doesn't matter how often you blow it. It doesn't matter how often you get hooked. It doesn't matter how much pain you wake up with in the middle of the night. You just keep remembering over and over and over again. This is our practice. This is why we're here. Let's take a moment to deeply go inside the well of our being and embody these truths. So breathe with me now in the snorkel that's filled with the rush of air of spiritus, of the beloved presence. And take a moment just to turn that face mask inward to yourself. What do you notice swimming by in your thought stream? What has you hooked this week? It's not your enemy. You don't need to destroy it. All you need to do is be aware of it. Be present with it. and slowly reel that energy in. Don't yank on the line, just bring it in and gently remove the connection and the energy. Old, tired, worn-out hippie. I am not an old, tired, worn-out hippie. I am existence, consciousness, and bliss, having a moment in a body. I am more than just this. I am spirit. I am an immortal jellyfish. You will not catch me with this. I'm releasing this and setting it free into the sea of that which is greater than any appearance. Feel yourself doing that with some condition, some circumstance that's got you hooked. Put a smile on your face and be grateful that you have teachings and practices that help you become the great fisherwoman, fisherman that you are meant to be. This is why we're here. Take that energy now and bring it to the mainland of your own life. Let's take a moment to be quiet together and feel the energy of the ocean of God and bliss all around us in the silence together.